Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. A quote by Jerry Dunn, which is a perfect embodiment of the automotive industry in the mid 1900s. And one particular car models is what was in the rage during that time, which is considered as muscle cars. And the muscle cars is an American icon, which I'll go more into detail and why it's so important and still prominent nowadays. But first, we're going to begin off by saying how it started, where it is currently, and where it's going to be further down the line. But maybe having a question, what is a modern muscle car? Well, I believe the perfect answer to that question is provided by hallcars.com, an online article which defines the muscle cars as more focused on raw power than handling. A simple quote, really, but honestly, says a lot about that type of vehicles. As other vehicles may be working around circuits, these type of vehicles are focused on being the fastest quarter mile at a time. Its simple goal made it very easy for other people to have one target and strive to be the best at it. One common tactic on making this happen is actually working with carburetors, which is essentially a mechanical device which combines the fuel and air intake, and by just turning one simple screw, actually alters the chemistry and eventually comes out with the most power by finding the perfect combination. But everybody in that time, the economy was booming and everybody had extra cash, and this was in a rage during that time. But not only was power the biggest deal in these type of vehicles, but sleek, timeless design too by Raymond Lowy. As shown by Dylan Media on one of their episodes, here is a very brief explanation. It's usually referenced as a Coke body, as is a very long nozzle, the hood for big engines, a middle increase where the cabin would be. It slopes down for the trunk, then goes back up. That's the spoiler. Shown very briefly in example 2. And real life examples as the Dodge Challenger, TA, and touched upon by the Mustang Fastback in 1969, Chevy Camaro. Yeah, honestly, these type of designs wasn't very prominent back then, but it has appeared in large brand movies such as Nobody, most commonly Fast and the Furious, and countless other action movies. I'm not too sure you've seen John Wick, but he actually drove a Barracuda, another muscle car. But of course, all good never lasts long enough. As in 1973, the quadrupled increase of the price of oil has been placed down by the embargo on the US, notably by participating OPEC nations, as quoted by an online article by FederalReserveHistory.org. Due to the lack of technology, the EPA set down expectations which the classic muscle cars wasn't able to reach, and unfortunately killed off what they call the golden era. But until recently, in the mid 2000s, there has been a large increase on what we call retro modern muscle. It's a modernization of retro designs, as seen here, just because of its new common technology being implemented, like the fuel injectors, cab design, and its fiberglass body, which makes it very lightweight, more aerodynamic, and meets EPA fuel emissions. But as shown here, these type of vehicles do have some similarities to its old counterparts, with its circular bulbs, its Coke body design, and it's actually a lot quicker due to the new technology too. But of course, not only did this car come out during that time, the Chevy Camaro and the Mustang, the big three, came back, and further increasing horsepower and reaching new limits. I believe the most recent one actually broke the 1,000 horsepower barrier recently. This comes to show it's a non-relenting, unofficial race on having the most quickest muscle car in the market. But of course, the Environmental Protection Agency has had harsher implementation of fuel requirements. As recently, they've been establishing a 50 mile per gallon corporate average fuel economy or CAF target for model year 2026 vehicles. So this car right here is a 6-cylinder, only reaches 26 miles per gallon, and this nearly doubles that amount. Which unfortunately would put in the end of what we call the modern muscle V8s. So you may be wondering what is to come next. Of course, you may be already realizing this, but the electrification of vehicles is actually a very next step to the modern muscle. Sure, it does not have the V8s, but it still has the same characteristics where they're looking for raw power and being the quickest vehicle in the market. Like for example, most fuel economies, cars.com, further supporting the electrification as an inevitable change, offers superior performance with higher torque, power output than internal combustion engines. Additionally, electrical motors are more fuel efficient at converting up to 80% of electrical energy into propulsion compared to only 25 to 50% of internal combustion engines, almost fuel-based injections. But that means the car was able to, it might be slightly heavier, but has more power to be quicker and faster. That's what we're looking for. But of course, no matter any obstacle, these type of vehicle genres will always find a way to pop up in the modernization and still look fantastic. But of course, we did touch upon how it began, where it is now, and where it's going. So hopefully this did provide some more clarity on why this type of vehicles are an American icon. And later on, when you're on the road driving and see one of these vehicles, I hope you do have a bit more appreciation on what came into it and what people love about this car in the car community. But for now, thank you for your time, and just enjoy yourself a nice drive.